This is Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS, HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Montgomery Mosaic features topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. Here now is your host, Deborah Milo.
Good morning, County friends, and welcome to another edition of Montgomery Mosaic. Well, it's the beautiful and hot month of September, which means fall is just around the corner, and there's a lot going on here in the county. One big item I want to make you aware of is the opening of the new Paul S. Sarbanes Transit Center, which is going to officially open on Sunday, September the 20th, right here in downtown Silver Spring. Now, this new transit center is located next to the Red Line Metro Rail Station and features more than 30 bus bays serving Metrobus, Montgomery County Ride-On, Vango, and of course the University of Maryland Shuttle. You can get more details at the website www.wamata.com/bus/Paul Sarbanes, SARBANS, transitcenter.cfm. I better repeat that. www.wamata.com/bus/Paul Sarbanes, transitcenter.cfm. Be sure you visit the website and check it out on September the 20th. Now, before fall officially starts, we've got the annual Silver Spring Jazz Festival to look forward to. And today's guest is going to tell us all about it. My guest today is Susan Hoffman, and Susan is with the Montgomery County Department of Recreation, and she's responsible for communications and public outreach. And so, Susan, welcome to Montgomery Mosaic.
Thank you, but Deborah, it's great to be with you.
Thanks so much for coming on today's show. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I always like to ask my guests a little bit about yourself as for your career path that brought you to work with the Jazz Festival, because now this is what I was told. I understand that you're quite a mover and a shaker. So I want to hear all about that.
Well, I'll leave that to others to decide. But I've been with Montgomery County for a very long time, since 1986. And about 10 years later, actually 9 years later, I went to Silver Spring during the redevelopment in the very earliest stages, and was engaged and involved with the redevelopment of downtown Silver Spring for about 15 years. And including among the things that we did as far as marketing downtown Silver Spring and creating a place when there wasn't much, creating community, creating there was holding events. And we did our summer concerts. We also started the Montgomery County Thanksgiving Parade, which this year will be in its 17th year.
Oh, my, 17 years. I can't believe that. I love that parade, by the way.
It's really great fun, and it's grown tremendously. And then the Jazz Festival, and I must admit that it was actually because I love jazz, and Marcus Johnson, who I'll talk about more in a bit.
I've met Marcus.
He and I were having a conversation, and I said, I really want to do a jazz festival. I love jazz, and we need more events, and we need special things going on down here while we continue the redevelopment. He was all for it, and the county moved forward doing it. And so, as I say, that was 12 years ago, and it's been the most wonderful event, and it's grown so dramatically and has really become the marquee event for downtown Silver Spring.
Well, I can tell you, after attending it a few years myself, it definitely is a marquee event, and I enjoy it each time. I want to talk a little bit about how this year is the 12th year for the Silver Spring Festival, and let's talk about the festival, who the headliner is, some of the acts. Can you talk a little bit about the background of, I think it's Al Ches,
yes,
bio, etc.?
Sure. Al Ches is a very interesting fellow. He's a trumpeter, and he was with the Paul Schaefer Band, working with David Letterman all the way back on the Late Show when it was on NBC.
Wow!
And then came along with Paul and the boys and girls, and with Letterman to CBS. And an interesting little anecdote: next to Doc Severinsen, who was on
yes.
the Johnny Carson show as the band leader and trumpeter. Al Chez has played trumpet on the television longer than any other person in, I guess, U.S. history. I won't speak for the rest of the world, but it may very well be the rest of the world. And it's pretty impressive. So we were thrilled to when he actually contacted us. I think the Jazz Festival in Silver Spring has gotten some legs, and
sure.
people now approach me to be a part of it. And so when he contacted us, I was just thrilled, and he will be with us along with his 13-piece Brothers of Funk Big Band.
I love that.
So we're going to have a lot of sound on that stage
wow.
on Saturday. Yes.
That's going to be amazing, to say the least. So now, who are some of the other acts that are going to be there?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will do it in reverse order of time, but
That's okay.
in order of the way we do. So the headliner is the top act, of course, and I've just talked about Al, and then Marcus Johnson will be back with us. He is with us every single year.
Yes, he is.
As a founding member of the Jazz Festival and a very, very popular local superstar, and a Silver Spring phenom. He was raised here. He went to Blair and Georgetown Law School. Some people may not know that.
I know, and that was amazing to me too.
Yeah, and so of course Marcus will be there. And he'll also be presenting Urban Jam. That will be his backup group.
Urban Jam.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we'll be in for some really wonderful sounds. Next we have Hallie Schoenberg. Hallie is also a local Silver Spring woman, also a Blair graduate. And she will be here with her jazz sextet. She plays reed, so she plays saxophone and clarinet, but she also plays flute. And she is, I think, I don't know, in another time, because she plays jazz the way people played jazz in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Classic jazz.
Yeah, what we used to call progressive.
Progressive, right.
Nobody says that anymore, so I feel a little dated. But,
you and I still say it.
Yeah, but when I say it, people know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And it's the good stuff.
It's the good stuff.
That's why I like her work so much. And she was with us several years ago, and so she's back. I usually don't repeat people for a long time because I like to expose the audiences to lots of different groups, and also I try to bring in as many local artists as possible. And in this case, we've done, everybody but Al as our headliner is local.
I love the fact of you bringing in local groups. I do. It's just, I'm a jazz fan too. And like you said, progressive. Yeah. And it's nice because I grew up in a family where my parents grew up with 1940s jazz. That was what was played. A lot of jazz was played in our household. So I have a real appreciation for it, especially trumpeteers. Oh, one of my favorites, Chris Bodie.
Yeah. Oh, yes. He's very good. We've looked into bringing him in. He's a little pricey.
Hey, I'm not surprised. Just tell him Deborah said, "Why don't you just come on?"
Okay.
Just now, right. Not that that's going to carry any weight, but hey.
Well, I'll mention it next time. Absolutely. So before Hallie goes on, we've got Danny Cortazza and his Latin jazz group. And Danny was with us a number of years ago as well, so we're bringing him back. He also has Cecilia Esquivel is his female vocalist. And Danny plays, I love Latin jazz, and I always try to have at least one Latin jazz performer in the lineup. And he's just stunning. He plays guitar, and it's just great music, and there's something about Latin jazz.
It is.
It's great stuff. Of course, very rhythmic and danceable, which some jazz, of course, is not.
True.
And then our opening act, and this is somebody we're bringing back now for the second year in a row, and we'll probably continue to have them as our opening act and when I tell you why, you'll understand. It's the Jazz Academy of Music, which is in Silver Spring.
That's right.
And that's Paul Carr's school and organization. These are an orchestra of about 25 pieces or so. Young people in school that are studying with Paul or have graduated from the academy, and this is an opportunity for them to perform in a jazz festival before large audiences and to learn a little bit of the ropes. And I feel very responsible for providing that opportunity, as they are Silver Springers and young people in music. And anybody pursuing the arts has a very warm spot in my heart. So that's why we will continue to bring them back.
You know something, I've heard them before. I was watching one of our stations, one of the cable stations, and I think they were at Strathmore. This is about a year ago, and they were amazing. The little bit that I caught, they were amazing. And when you can provide that forum for young people, you're right. It is an amazing opportunity. County friends, thank you for tuning in to Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and I have the chance to chat with Susan Hoffman. She's with the Montgomery County Department of Recreation, and we're talking about the upcoming Silver Spring Jazz Festival, and I'm telling you, we're having a great conversation. Tell our listeners, Susan, a little about where the festival takes place, where they can park, what they should bring with them, things like that.
Of course. I'm happy to do that. There are garages. They're limited in their capacity, especially the ones that are around the festival. The festival is held on Veterans Plaza at the Silver Spring Civic Building, which is essentially at the intersection of Ellsworth Drive and Fenton Street, right in the heart of downtown Silver Spring. There is no parking adjacent, on the street. Of course, everything's blocked off. There are several garages, and as I say, there's limited parking. I would urge as many people as can to take Metro. It's only about 2 blocks. It's the weather's still warm, so you won't be trudging, uphill in 7 feet of snow. And so, if you can find a way to take Metro, I think that would be better. But there are other garages around. There are garages on Cameron Street, and of course, there's the Wayne Avenue garage as well, but that's close in, and that fills up awfully quickly. And then it does take a long time to get out. So I'm telling you now. And if you leave early to get out early, you'll miss Alchez, and that's really a mistake.
See, now you got me being there really early.
Well, we start at 3. And we run till 10, and so and the headliner goes on at 8:30. And so it's a long set. It's an hour and a half set. So there's lots of and I would just urge you to either hang out, go get a drink afterward,
right,
and wait till the garages clear out, or take Metro. Don't forget to bring a chair.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. What to bring?
Yeah, bring a beach chairs. And you can bring a picnic, or you can. There's lots of restaurants nearby, and we also have some very good food vendors on site.
Okay, so will there be food trucks on site by chance?
There will be food on site that we bring in vendors. So you don't have to leave the area, but you certainly can. And I think if anyone's familiar with the downtown Silver Spring area, you know that there's lots of very good restaurants. All around.
Trust me, I've been to several. So now, will there be a process whereby you get your hand stamped? Since it's a free event, will there be anything like that people want to go and come, or anything like that?
No, people can come and go at will. There is no hand stamp. They don't need to because they didn't pay. Which is the best news. Which
is the absolute best news. Yeah. Now, I know it's a really popular event on the live jazz circuit. So how many people do you think are going to be there?
Well, we have, I'll tell you a little fun story about that when we get to if we want to talk about the history of it. But we usually get something like 20,000 people over the day. Wow. So it's pretty well attended. 20,000. We can't complain about that. Yeah.
So what was the highest number when you first started out? About approximately how many people did you have?
Well, the first time we did this, we did it right in the air with the Veterans Plaza wasn't even built
Okay.
So we didn't have that to do.
Right.
And so we decided we would have it on the stage where we were holding the summer concerts at the time, which is by the fountain.
Oh, that's a nice place.
Yes,
Yeah, it was a
very
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
And we had the police estimate was about 8,000 people. But
And that was
8,000 people
wow.
in that space.
Yeah.
They extended all the way from Fenton up Ellsworth to Georgia. It was cheek by jowl, jammed.
I'm sure.
And I will tell you that Lebanese Taverna ran out of hummus.
Oh, my goodness.
Austin Grill ran out of chicken. It was crazy. It was just crazy. And we never imagined we would have that many people in attendance. It was, and we realized, oh, we got a thing here. So we better we better rethink this for next year. And so I had always had a dream to bring in Wynton Marsalis.
Yeah.
And when we had our debrief after the first jazz festival, I said that at the meeting, and people laughed. But
guess what?
It turns out that I knew somebody who knew him personally, and he asked and went and said yes.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
It was unbelievable. And he even adjusted his fee for my friend. It was just an amazing thing. I shouldn't say that, right? I'm not supposed to tell him that he came in cheaper. Anyway, it wasn't cheap, but it was for us. It was
right.
It was, you're right. And then about 2 weeks before the jazz festival, there was a little thing that happened in New Orleans called Katrina.
I was just about to ask you that.
Hurricane Katrina, yeah. And so, of course, Wynton, being from New Orleans,
Of course.
along with the rest of the Marsalis family, was kind of front and center on that issue. And so we decided we would begin to fundraise there on site. So we had a bucket brigade of people walking through the crowd.
A bucket brigade.
Yeah,
I like that.
between sets, and people were contributing to the Red Cross, and then we took that money with a police escort to the Red Cross office to turn it in.
With the police escort.
Yes,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it was a lot of cash.
I'm quite sure.
And the other really wonderful thing was, as I'm sure you recall, there were people from New Orleans who were taken to lots of different places in the country.
Yes.
And put up for a while. And, of course, Washington, D.C. Received its share of folks from New Orleans, and we were able to bring them as guests to the event. Yes, and it was thrilling, and they were introduced and all stood up, and the crowd roared. It was great.
Okay, now Susan, you've given the listeners a tearjerker. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
And so by then we had that turf covered area that became the plaza.
Right.
And it was, of course, a huge area. There were no structures at all. So we had a large place to set up the stage and put the crowd. And that evening, we had 25,000 people.
Talk about amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, the timing. It was a terrible tragedy, but we were able to at least raise lots of money for the victims.
And to be able to have wonderful, entertainers there to support and to just do their, bless us with great music,
Yes.
Folks, if you've just tuned in, this is Montgomery Mosaic, and it's Deborah Milo talking with Susan Hoffman. We're talking about some of the musical groups that are going to be appearing at the annual Silver Spring Jazz Festival, which I hope you have a chance to attend. I know I will. And Susan has just been sharing some wonderful memories about when Wynton Marsalis was here right after Hurricane Katrina, which we all know was, just one of the most devastating things to happen, and how wonderful it was for all of the acts to come together and how money was raised. And, that just really, it makes you feel good. It really makes you feel good. Susan, I understand that there are plans afoot for the festival to grow. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we are limited in space where we are, and and it fills up. It fills up so much that people often stand in the garages and look out from the garage space, the town center garage. Mm-hmm. So we toy with the idea of creating a second venue, and then of course, how do we handle that? We don't have limitless funds. This is funded mostly by the county, although we do have sponsorship,
right?
And people are very generous. Particularly the Fillmore Silver Spring is a very generous partner on this, and so so I continue to look around for ways to expand, and someday I'm going to figure it out. But it might involve charging, and I really don't want to.
Yeah. So
far we're where we are, and and doing very well. People come. We don't. I just want to mention, even if rain is predicted, we don't call anything until the minute, pretty much. And generally, we have been lucky over the 12 years. This last 2 years, we lost one act, and then the year before, we lost one act. And but the headliner has always gone on happily.
Nice.
Knock wood. And and so I'm counting on that to be the case. And when the rain started coming last year sideways, and people, of course, dispersed, we got the rain stopped, and we got the stage all squeegeed off, and
that's one big squeegee.
Oh yeah, and we turned the lights back on, and within 5 minutes, everybody was back. I don't know where they had gone, but they hadn't gone far.
Not surprising, though, with all the wonderful restaurants and places, not to mention shopping down in Silver Spring has improved greatly. It's improved greatly. Well, I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about the annual holiday parade here in Silver Spring. Can you talk a little bit about the annual event so folks can get it on their calendar?
Absolutely. The Thanksgiving parade is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and that makes it November 21st. It steps off at 10 a.m. and runs till about noon. Again, the step-off point is at the Civic Building on Ellsworth Drive. And it extends out to Georgia Avenue and then turns left down to Silver Spring Avenue. So you don't necessarily have to be down at the Civic Building to see it. It is also televised on News Channel 8. And so if for whatever reason you can't make it out, you certainly can still watch. It's aired live that day. They air it, I think, several times afterward, including Thanksgiving morning. So we are kind of in competition with the Macy's parade, which I always think is pretty funny because who's watching us if they're watching Macy's?
Well, you'd be surprised.
Well, I actually am. Yes, I do hear from people who have seen it, and it's a great parade. And of course, Santa's there. We start off with turkeys and pilgrims and Native Americans, and we end up with Santa in his sleigh or on his throne, or depending on what the float theme is that year. And we have large inflatables.
It's always fun.
It's great fun. There's nothing like a parade. And we've got some, elected officials, the obligatory elected officials,
of course,
and lots of fire engines and other floats and dancers and doggies performing and just the most charming, sweet things and antique cars.
I like the antique cars.
They're fun, aren't they?
They are fun.
Yes, and a couple years ago we got these what are they called? I can't think of it. Heavy motor car. The You know what I mean?
I do.
I'm
As
sorry.
we're sitting here, no, I know what you're talking about, and I hope the listening audience does too.
So there's these Dodge,
oh yeah,
big heavy Dodge cars, and and they vroom very loudly to the delight of the children.
Muscle cars.
Muscle. Thank you. Bless you. Oh,
Muscle
good.
Cars.
Yes, lots of muscle cars too, and then charming, really old cars, and then some Thunderbirds, just fun stuff. But we have dancers, we have some ballet dancers, we have the Bolivian dancers.
Oh, they're wonderful
and so colorful.
Oh, they are colorful.
Yeah, indeed.
These events require a lot of work and a lot of volunteers. Are there volunteer opportunities actually available for the festival and the parade that you know of?
There absolutely are, and people certainly can email me.
Okay, great.
Or they can go to our website. So they can email me at susan.hoffman, HOFFMANN, 2 N's, at montgomerycountymd.gov. Or they can go to our website, silverspringdowntown.com.
Okay. Susan, would you mind repeating both of those websites, your email address as well?
Sure. Susan, SUSAN, Hoffman, HOFFMANN, at montgomerycountymd.gov, G-O-V. And our website is www.silverspringdowntown.com.
Susan, are there any final details that you want to share with our listeners?
Well, I would recommend that if you are planning to stay for more than one act, that you think about coming early, because lots of eager fans arrive as early as 10 o'clock to stake out their space.
Good to know.
So, yes. So, but if you get there close to 3, you should be in very good shape to get a good seat.
Fantastic. Susan, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. And county friends, thank you for including us in your day as well. Now listen, I hope you plan to attend the annual Silver Spring Jazz Festival on September the 12th. And please don't forget to tune in again next month on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday for another Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL WPRS HD2 and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Till next time, be kind to one another and have a great day.